Hello mga kamamshi! For today's video, I will show you the different kinds of flour, their comparison and usage. And to begin with, let's start with all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour is one of the most commonly used types of flour. This flour is made from a blend of hard and soft wheat that gives it a middle-of-the-road protein and starch content. All-purpose flour has a 10% to 12% protein content. Bread flour. Bread flour is made entirely from hard wheat. The larger amount of gluten generated by this higher protein flour helps bread rise higher. That's because the gluten traps and holds air bubbles as you mix and knead the dough. Bread flour is the best choice for yeasted baking products. Bread flour has more at about 14% to 16% protein content. Cake flour. Cake flour is a low protein flour and it contains about 7 to 9% protein. When used in cake, it results in a super tender texture with a fine crumbs and a good rise. Pastry flour. Pastry flour is made from soft wheat, which make it finer than all-purpose flour. Its protein content places it between all-purpose and cake flours. This flour is ideal for our tart crush, pie dough, muffins, and some cookie batters. If you're trying to achieve a tender but crumbly pastry, this one is the best. Self-rising flour. When you're looking for a shortcut, self-rising flour already has a leavening agent, which is baking powder, and salt built right in. The flour base is closer to a cake flour with lower protein. It cannot be substituted for other flour. To make your own self-rising flour, combine 1 cup of flour with 1.5 teaspoon baking powder and half teaspoon of salt. Almond flour. Almond flour is made by blanching almonds in boiling water to remove the skins, then grinding and sifting them into a fine flour. This gluten-free favorite is low in carbs and high in healthy fats and fiber. Whole wheat flour. Whole wheat flour made by grinding whole wheat. It does not filter out bran, rich in vitamin B1, B2, B3, and B6, and other minerals. Its nutritional values is very high. Gluten-free flour. The protein content is even lower than the lower protein flour, specializing in providing factory-produced product with special formulas or special health food. Semolina flour. Semolina, also known as pasta wheat or macaroni wheat. It is a type of flour that is typically made from hard durum wheat. It has a rather coarse texture and is high in gluten protein. This makes it specially well suited to pasta, since it makes less sticky dough than other flour and it's much more elastic. Corn flour. Cornstarch or maize starch is the starch derived from corn grains. The starch is obtained from the endosperm of the kernel. Cornstarch is a common food ingredient, often used to thicken sauces or soups and to make corn syrup and other sugars. Tapioca flour. It is starch extracted from the root of cassava. It will be transparent when cooked with water and heat, and the mouthfeel is chewy and elastic. Tapioca flour can be used to make taro balls, pearls, puchayko, and bika ambon. Superfine flour. This type of flour can make a finer cake texture. It is easy to sift. It can also be called low gluten flour. It is best used to make delicate soft cakes, crepe, donut, cookies, and others. All-purpose flour versus bread flour. The main difference between bread flour and all-purpose flour is a matter of protein. Bread flour, which comes in white and whole wheat varieties, has a higher protein content than all-purpose, usually 11 to 13%. It's called bread flour because most bread requires higher amounts of protein to produce a lot of gluten. All-purpose flour versus cake flour. Cake flour is a low-protein flour that's milled into a fine consistency. It contains about 7 to 9% protein, while all-purpose flour, a harder flour, has anywhere between 10 to 12%. Cake flour's lower protein means less gluten is formed as you mix the batter together. All-purpose flour versus wheat flour. Whole wheat flour, it provides more fiber and other nutrients than all-purpose flour. Generally speaking, it makes for heavier bread and baked goods and has a shorter shelf life than all-purpose flour. Whole wheat flour is often mixed with all-purpose flour for a lighter texture and better rising. All-purpose flour versus self-rising flour. All-purpose flour is versatile as it contains an average amount of protein. Self-rising flour should only be used when a recipe calls for self-rising flour because salt and baking powder, which is a leavening agent, have been added and distributed evenly through the flour. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe!